Hi guys, and welcome to my video today. So I'm going to be giving you guys 5 lessons that I learned from nursing school in my first semester. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, subscribe, and I'm going to be uploading more content on nursing and travel. So my first tip for you guys is that you need to study that thing that you keep avoiding. So, do you ever come across any topics that you read and you're just like, okay, this is kind of intimidating, this is hard? Well, guess what? You need to know it. And you might not want to study it in the moment, but it's going to catch up to you, whether it's in the field or on your exam, it's going to come up. So, even if you don't like a topic, and especially if you don't like a topic, make sure you go back and make sure that you go over that topic that you do not like until you master it. And you will thank yourself for that. Another tip that I like to give is that you should create study guides and try to cater them to yourself. Like, come up with mnemonics if you can, and cater the material to yourself, word it, and write it out in a way that you'll understand it. You could draw pictures, you could create some kind of crazy phrase, or make something up, but make it in a way that you will remember it. And there are so many things that I remember just because of the crazy way that I created for myself to remember something, and it sticks. For example, when it came to memorizing the veins, there's a vein called the basilic vein, right? So I would imagine a basil leaf literally on that part of my arm, and that is the way that I remember it every single time. I just remember the basil leaf on my arm, and that corresponds with the vein. So you can come up with different cool, unique mnemonics to help you remember things. Another piece of advice that I would give is that you should listen to yourself, listen to your gut, and if there's something that your classmates are saying that doesn't really align with what you're thinking, it's okay. You can just do your own thing and just carry on. For example, a lot of my classmates would say XYZ, and I wouldn't really agree with it, but I wouldn't let it bother me. For example, if it has to do with studying material and I know that this is right, and then some classmates are saying something and I know that's wrong, I'm just going to ignore it, and I'm going to just try my best to stay positive, because that might happen more often than you think. So, yeah, you just have to trust yourself and do what you think is right and stand on it. A fourth tip that I would give is that hear me out on this one, because it might not make sense right now, but if you try it, it might help you. So I like to read things to myself and kind of teach myself. I'll explain things to myself in a way that makes sense to me in my head. Like, I don't even have to say it out loud, but while I'm reading something, I'll say something to myself. I'll think something to myself about that topic that'll help me remember it. For example, if I'm reading about left-sided heart failure and I see a pattern, what is the difference between right-sided heart failure and left-sided heart failure? I can, after going over the material on right and left-sided heart failure, I can make a note to myself, like, okay, this is the difference between right and left heart-sided failure. These are the big messages that I'm getting, and basically just summarize it to myself in my head, and that helps me retain information. And one last tip that I would give is to show up to clinical on time. So, this is kind of an obvious one. Of course, you want to show up to clinical on time, but preferably you actually want to show up early. And yeah, definitely don't be late for clinical because they tend to be strict in clinical. And yeah, also try not to have your nails done. They actually told us that we can only have clear polish or like a nude polish. It couldn't be colored. And definitely we can't have acrylics. So yeah, definitely read over your clinical rules and make sure you follow them. So those are my 5 tips that hopefully can help you in nursing school. And those are my tips for my first semester. And thank you so much for watching my video and hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much and bye.